Hello and welcome to the weather update on this very, very cold day today. And unfortunately, I have no heat again. As you saw in my other video. You might hear the phone ring in this video, and I might have to pause the video because I'm trying to get in touch with people about getting the heat on tonight. All right. So as you can see, we stayed mostly sunny today. Most of the cirrus stayed off to the west, and we had a fairly nice day. And I did get back to the Pine Barrens again. It'll be in a separate video. But looking at our current temperatures, you see it's pretty cold out there. We got temperatures in the mid-30s out there. And we've got some wind gusts, too, on top of it, so it's breezy. Temperatures in the mid-30s. No radiational cooling taking place. But you'll notice in New Jersey there is a little bit of radiational cooling. You'll see some upper 20s there, around 30 degrees. And again, we got this just to show you what the day was like. We'll show you what it was like at Islip. And we are, looks like it did actually drop a little bit and then go back up again. So maybe there was a little bit of radiational cooling there. But this was the day at Islip. You can see gusty winds from the northwest. Highs, temperatures generally only in the 30s, upper 30s. And yeah, pretty chilly out there. So we'll go to our highs and lows right now. And so let's go take a look at the highs and lows. We'll first look at the highs. And you can see a lot of us didn't even make it to 40. Looks like they did in New Jersey. Did get up to around 40, but Long Island was generally in the upper 30s. Looking at the lows, lows are generally in the upper 20s. So on Long Island, you can see the wind mid to upper 20s, so no radiational cooling. However, it looked like there was a little bit in New Jersey there. So yes, we got a storm to deal with, and that's it right there. And it's causing a lot of problems. If we actually go and we look at the AccuWeather radar here, so a lot to cover tonight, even though I'm freezing my you-know-what off in here. You will see here that we have this big low-pressure system, and there's actually severe weather. There was actually a tornado in New Orleans today. If we minimize this here, you'll see that there was a tornado. Actually, storms caused tornadoes here. Deadly storms. There was a tornado that hit New Orleans today. So pretty crazy stuff with this severe weather going on. If we go to the Storm Prediction Center, which, you wouldn't think you'd have to look at that, but take a look in the red there. Very unusual to see that in December. In the red, that is a moderate risk there in the south there along the Gulf, Panhandle, Florida, going from Louisiana into that. This is all going to shift east into Florida tomorrow. So, yeah, we have a lot of severe weather going on across the area, and with this line of storms here that we have across the area. Like if I go back to the weather and hazards map here in a minute, you'll see we do have a tornado warning in effect right there. So we do have one tornado warning. As far as what's going on to our north and the west, you'll see there's the winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, as well as an ice storm possible in certain areas as well. The warm air will come in. We're not going to have any of that. Will be rain for us. Looks like we got blizzard warnings out west. So a lot going on. The storm's causing a lot of havoc across the country. So if we go look at the weather map here, Weather Prediction Center, you'll see here is the storm right here. Look at that. It's actually a double point low pressure. You can see this one low here, another low here, and then another one is going to form right as we get into tomorrow. So let's take a look and see what the GFS has. And you'll see here this low pressure system here, and the high pressure, that little ridge of high pressure, gets eventually pushed out, though it's going to put up a fight. But we will see rain because of the warm air will come in. So we're expecting mostly rain to start very lightly tomorrow evening and then become heavier to moderate and occasionally heavy as this low pressure forms like literally right over us or just to our south Friday morning. And it's going to take its sweet time moving along. You can see that rain is going to linger around perhaps for at least most of Friday. And then it finally gets out of here. And you'll see, if you look over there in New England here, Maine, they'll be getting some snows from that, but we're not going to see any of that from this system. And then after that, we have another high pressure build in behind it. So it's all about this storm right now. So let's go look at the latest HRRR model, and we'll take a look at the storm. So obviously, the clouds will be on the increase. You can see here is the HRRR. You can see we have the rain starting, and the HRRR brings it in kind of heavy, even as early as 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, already kind of heavy, and then it's going to continue, and then as you get into Friday, it becomes a little more showery in nature, but there'll still be rain chances throughout the day as the center of this low just kind of goes right over us right there. So, but you'll see with the low tracking the way it is, we're going to be in the warm air, or warmer air, and therefore we will not be dealing with the snow. Uh, Up in the valleys up north, they're going to have to worry about snow and ice as well. So looking at your wind flows here, we have the northeast winds becoming easterly by tomorrow morning. That's going to come in off the ocean, so that starts bringing the moisture in. And you'll see they'll be pretty strong, too, as well. We're going to have some pretty strong easterly winds. Here comes the low pressure system just off to our south Friday and literally right over us right there. You can see the little bit of moisture that accompanies that low pressure system there. The temperatures are what's going to keep us from getting the snow. So tonight we'll probably have lows probably as the clouds come in. We still got the wind. Lows probably in the upper 20s. And then tomorrow we'll have temperatures in the low 40s. So a little bit warmer than today, not by that much. And then you can see that warm air kind of surging, especially as you head toward Friday. Some parts of the East End and maybe the Jersey Shore might get up to 50 briefly with the low moving away. Looking at the total amount of rainfall here, this is what the HRRR seems to say, and it's going to be a soaker, 1 to possibly 2 inches in certain areas, though it seems like the heavier stuff is further to the west. Total snowfall, look at this, it's mostly all inland, but look at these areas in the mountains, over a foot of snow perhaps. Some other areas are getting like a 6 to 12 inch, 6 to 10 inch amount, and then other areas are getting winter weather advisory. However, there's another thing. Do we have an ice? We don't have an ice thing. And then we have the total snow depth change as well as another parameter to look at. But you'll see the mountains will get the really heavy snows. But still, it's going to be a snowstorm for sure. And again, if we go to the total snowfall, you'll see here. And they may have to bump these numbers up in New England, perhaps. I think they're a little low, personally. So that's one model's look at this. We're going to look at several models with this. Let's go to the NAM as well, the NAM 3. So this is the NAM 3. So you'll see it again. The rain starts. The NAM's a little later with it. It starts a little more like 7 or 8. Generally between 6 and 7 o'clock the rain starts, and we'll have to see how quickly it gets heavy. But it'll definitely be heavier later on and tomorrow night, into overnight, into the first part of Friday, and then the shower chance is going to linger throughout the day on Friday. Eventually, stop after midnight into Saturday, it'll finally go away. Now, if we look at the NAM total snowfall, let's take a look at this. Pretty much in agreement with the HRRR here. Total rainfall, total accumulated precip. Where it's so cold in here, I can't think. Yeah, that 1 to 2 inch amount is probably we got here. So let's go look at our FGen, because this is one thing that I want to look at here. You can see the lift that is going on. So you can see the lift here that we're going to have. The peak areas of lift are probably going to be in that overnight period. So tomorrow night into Friday morning, probably the heaviest amount. That'll be the heaviest rain. And, it could be even a heavy rain, maybe even a thunderstorm in there, possibly. I mean, probably not, but there's a lot of lift going on there, as you see. All right. So that's one parameter, but I can also, I think the FV3 has this feature. Yes, it does. Okay. So we can use the FV3 as well, but we don't really have the latest on the FV3. I'll use the regular GFS. So again, you can see this feature here, and look at that lift there. All right. So that area of lift is going to come in sometime. The heaviest area of lift is going to come in that overnight period. So let's go look at the next thing which we want to do is Ventusky, and we will go and we will look at the winds, and I'll look at wind gusts as we head into tomorrow, because the winds will pick up. They're already going to start to pick up as we head. So it's 2 o'clock tomorrow. It doesn't look too bad, but let's move it along to later at night. You'll start seeing the winds pick up. You ever get gusts over 30, 40 miles an hour here. Look at this, 34 miles an hour, 51 on the Jersey Shore here. You're going to have some heavy winds. Again, this is using the HRRR. So there's going to be some pretty strong winds with this. You got that high to the north and this low that's kind of developing just off to the south. So you can see some pretty strong winds here. 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts possible, perhaps. Perhaps even more than that in certain areas, again, because you got this really tight pressure gradient here that's between these two systems. So you have a really tight pressure gradient, and that's what's going to make this wind really bad. And the other thing is, of course, this is going to kick up the surf too. So if we look at the waves, you'll see we're going to have, oh my God, 14 foot, 13 foot. There's going to be some significant erosion from this. So yeah, this storm is going to be a real. It's a nor'easter. It's going to be a deep storm, but it's tracking just to the south. The center of it's literally just to our south. But it's going to really kick up the winds and the waves, and I think we'll see some beach erosion as well, some coastal flooding from this. It's going to be a bad storm for sure. And then things start to slowly dissipate as we head into Friday night. But I think coastal flooding is a good bet for this storm as well. Once we're done with the storm, I'll just briefly show you what the weather will be like. Well, you know what? I'm not going to show you. I guess I can. We'll show you what's going to happen for the rest of the weekend as we head. So luckily the rain will be over. By the time we get to Saturday, though, temperatures will be upper 30s, low 40s. And then for Sunday, we'll have temperatures generally in the mid-30s. So we'll have colder air behind that storm. But the sun should try to come out. We'll use this. We'll show you here. So I'll show you the sun will try to come out here. I'm kind of focused on this storm right now. So Sunday looks like it could be a nice day. But we got to get through this storm first, all right? And there's more models that I want to look at. We're going to go to windy.com. All right, windy.com. So here we go for windy.com, and you'll see again what's going to happen with these winds. This is the European model, but you'll still see the kind of winds that we're going to be dealing with here just off to the, so yeah, 55 mile an hour gusts, perhaps. Inland it'll probably be more like 40 miles an hour, but it's going to be windy. Could be some scattered power outages. Definitely some very strong winds as this storm kind of just bombs out almost just off to the south of us. And again, the waves, if you look at these waves again, you'll see what I mean. These waves are really going to be up there. You see there, look at that. So it's going to be really rough for sure. We'll go back to the wind here. We go to the sustained wind. These are sustained winds. And you see offshore, you can have some pretty bad sustained winds again. This is Friday. So this is something we'll have to watch out for. And you can see those really strong winds there. So there's a lot of energy with this. Remember, it's producing tornadoes. There's a lot of energy with it. Last thing we'll do, just for the heck of it, I don't think we'll have to worry about it, but we'll check the thunderstorms and Cape values. I don't think there will be any to worry about. We're not going to see any severe weather from it, but what we will see is typical nor'easter type of conditions. Coastal flooding, heavy rain, wind, just a typical nor'easter type of thing that you do see, I guess. But this is going to be a rather strong one. So I guess that's going to wrap up this weather update. I got a lot of other stuff going on, but I figured I would try to do this weather update because we do have an active weather coming for later tomorrow into Friday. Have a good night.